Hi everyone. So a few people have asked me to do a review on my scooter now that I've used it for a little bit, so I thought I might as well. Just turn it on. There we go, nice and full. That's lovely. So I'll tell you a bit about the scooter in general, and then a few little bits and pieces afterwards. So it's a Hitway H5. It's an 800 watt motor, I believe. It can do about 28 miles an hour and it can go for about 25 miles. Now, although it can do 28, it can't do that constantly flat out. Its peak speed is 28 mile an hour, but its average cruising speed is about 25-24 when the battery is full. Once the battery starts running out a bit, obviously it starts going a little bit slower. By the time you're on half battery, you'll find that your average cruising speed is about 21-22. So it's not too bad, but it's alright. So it has 3 different gears. They're actually just like electronic speed caps, but you have gear 1, which lets you do about 9 mile an hour. Speed 2, which lets you do about 18, 19. And then you have 3, which lets you go all the way up to 28, which is cool. It has lights, quite bright, and it has rear brake light. Now I'll see if I can do this. Yeah. A secondary brake. I'll turn the lights off so you can see that better. That comes on when you pull either of the brake levers, which is very nice. 10-inch pneumatic tyres, front and back. Disc brakes, so you can stop very well. What else? The computer, this gubbin Z here, you can program it a little bit, so you can switch it between like kilometres an hour or miles an hour. It has, let's have a look. Yeah, it has the odometer, the trip counter, which resets every time you turn it off. So it's like, how far have you gone for this ride? A bit of stuff about voltage and amps and error codes if you have any, how long it's been powered on for this time, and it's 2 minutes 48, and then back to there. But you can go in, if you press both buttons, you can program certain things, including the maximum speed percentage. So say for example at 100%, this can do 28 miles an hour. If you set the speed percentage to 50%, it can only, its maximum speed in third gear will be 14 mile an hour. So it's good if you've got like kids want to have a go as well. You can suddenly jump into the computer and bring the percentage down. So like you can set it so the scooter only does 5 mile an hour if you want. So that's quite handy. What else? Oh yes, it has turn signals. So, which is very nice. It goes beep beep and the other one does it on the other side. It has a horn, but it is the worst horn in the world. So that's a bit rubbish. But overall it's not bad. It comes with a seat as well. I haven't got mine fitted at the moment. But it does come with a seat as well. It's a very it's like sitting on a sponge cake essentially. It's quite comfy, but I find it very awkward to try and balance using the seat. It's kind of like trying to ride a unicycle sort of. So I did actually take this pole off. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I did put it back on eventually so I could mount my rear camera. So overall it's quite comfy. It has shock absorbers front and back, so it can handle bumps and things quite well. Although when you do hit like potholes and things like that, the wheel itself makes a weird sort of cracking sound, which is quite scary. But I've checked the wheel out and it hasn't cracked, there's no damage or anything like that. It just makes that noise. It might be the wheel itself, it might actually be like the shock compacting or something like that, I'm not sure, but it does sound a bit scary. But everything seems to be okay. Most things are on quick release, so you can adjust them quite well. The seat obviously is the quick release clamp there, so you can put it in, open it up, do whatever you need. The handlebars as well here. Also, when you want to fold it down, you pull that ring. I'll see if I can do this one-handed, like that, and it will collapse, but I'll put it back up because I don't want to collapse it. And if you want to collapse the actual handlebars so you can carry it and stuff, you pull out the pin there, and then you pop that and it just folds down. But you do need to fold the seat all the way down. In fact, I think you need to take the seat off. But you certainly need to fold the seat pole down first, and then you can fold this down, and it will lock into place down here as well. So some scooters, you have like a little hook on the back, and the handlebars will clip onto that, but after a while that can break, whereas this is actually part of the frame there, and when it drops down it goes clunk, clips back into place again, and you can put the pin in back in so it stops it from popping open. Okay, so a few things I've changed on mine, or done to mine. I've got a front mounted camera. It's just a cheapy like GoPro knockoff. Same for the back, so I can have adventures, and that is a quick release. It's similar to a super clamp, which if you search on Amazon and places like that, you'll find a super clamp, except this has got a quick release system on it, so that was quite good. For security, I have my disc brake lock, so you can pop that on the back wheel and actually attach it. The pin goes through one of the holes on that, so that will stop the wheel turning round. And if I need to secure it to something, I've got a good old trusty bike padlock mounted onto the front pole, and you can either thread that through one of the wheels, or you could thread it through there somewhere and then wrap it around a lamppost or a railing or something. So that's quite cool. And I've just noticed it turns off. It does automatically. It goes to sleep after a while, but it doesn't turn on if you just turn the key. You have to turn the key and then press the button, and then it comes back alive. So that's cool. What else have I done? Oh yes, like I said, I did take the seat pole off. I've seen a few other videos and on a few web pages where they say, oh yes, you can do this, but it's quite fiddly and it'll take you a while. That's actually rubbish. That is complete rubbish. You can take it off with the tool supplied in your little tool bag. It takes about 3 minutes. So what I'll do, I'll just take off my rear cam, so I can then fold down the pole if I want, and I can show you how to take it off. I'm not actually going to take mine off, but I'll show you how it's done. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back. Right, so first of all, you pop the quick release and fold that down, and it still doesn't open. That's good. So you push the pin in slightly, which is just there, and that allows you to unlock it. Now, all you actually need to do to remove the seat pole is use one of the, in England we call them Allen keys or Allen wrenches, and you just undo the two ends, and that's a bolt that runs through the middle, and you take that out and this will come off. And if you want to remove this, then all you need to do is undo that nut there, and then this whole bit here with the spring, because there's a spring on there, that comes out, and then this pin can slide out, and there's a little spring hiding in there as well, so that can do that. So when you take that pin out, make sure that the spring comes out with it as well, and when you want to put it back in again, like I have, you just start by putting the little spring in the end, putting the pin in, and then you thread that whole bit there back into the pin, put the nut on the bottom, and then you can fold it up and push the pin in, and it goes in, and then you can pop the quick release, and your pole's all sturdy again. It doesn't go anywhere. So that's quite easy. The other thing I've modified, close my charging port, hadn't realised it was open. You normally get a set of rainbow LEDs along here. I'll show a quick picture now. Okay, so that's what they look like. Now, apparently there are 3 different ways that you can turn them off, because normally when you turn the headlights on, the side running lights come on as well. But as well as turning them off, you can actually change them. I'll explain about that. So, on mine, I'll turn it on again. It says, and I'll show you a picture, long press of the button makes the headlight symbol light up. It actually makes it go out, but I'll show that. Long press, and there we go. Now that is all it does on mine. It just makes that little symbol come on or go off on the dash. It doesn't actually affect anything else. Apparently on the latest editions, which were released in March, that does actually turn the side lights on and off, but on mine it doesn't. It just makes a little dash light turn on or off. The second way you can apparently do it is there's a secret button hidden in there, and you can get to it by, there's 2 little bolts, one on this corner and one on the other corner, and then you slide this whole piece of plastic off, and inside there's a little strip about this long of white plastic with some bumps on it, and they're actually little buttons. And you have 3 buttons. One of them is light pattern going up, one of them is light pattern going down, and one of them is change the speed of the pattern. And I think you have 7 different speeds. But there's something like about 25 or 30 different light patterns. Like some of them it's your standard, like in that picture you would have thought it would have been like red, yellow, green, blue, purple, white, and that scrolls past at a certain speed. But there's also things like it's all white lights and then 2 red lights go past. Another pattern is the same, but it's 2 blue lights go past or 2 green lights go past. Or it could be only like yellow and green scrolling past and things like that. But none of them actually seem to be an off. So that was a pain in the bum. So what I ended up doing was taking the bottom plate, which is underneath. You have to flip the scooter over to do that. But you take all the bolts off and take the plate off, and you can get to all the stuff, including that magic button set that's in there. You can get to it from this direction, which is actually easier to do than trying to get to it from this end. But what I done was, where the edge of the RGB strip goes in and then around the corner, you can actually see the wires that came off it and went in. And I found the same one on the other side as well, which comes along and then comes in, and they both joined onto the same little black plug. So I just undid the plug. You've disconnected the lights then. That's a guaranteed surefire way of doing it. And not only have you actually disconnected them, but because they're no longer being powered, you save a little bit of extra power. So that's good. So if you want to turn the lights off, you can do that. I think that's about it. Overall, my opinion is it's a great little scooter. It's great fun zipping along at like 25 mile an hour. It's very handy for me to get to work. I can get to work in about 8 minutes, where even on the bus it used to take me about 15 if the bus turned up straight away, but you'd usually have to wait about 10 minutes anyway. So a 25-minute bus ride or a 45-minute walk is now reduced down to 8 minutes, which is awesome. It's very comfy because of the shocks, and if you use the seat it's even comfier. It is like sitting on a sponge cake and going for a ride. It's kind of like riding a bike, in the essence of you get all the enjoyment of riding a bike, like being outdoors and having the wind in your hair and all that sort of thing, but none of the effort of pedalling, and hills are no longer an issue. Regarding hills, it can go up quite steep hills, but you will get a drop in speed, obviously. Well, in the third gear, you will get a drop in speed. It will go from like 25, 26 down to about 22, 21. On a really steep hill, it will drop down to about 18 or even 17. If you're in second gear, then it will stay at about 16, 17, and it will get up. So that's not too bad. And first gear, it will hit like 9 mile an hour, no problem, and just keep pootling along at that, almost vertical. So yeah, it's quite good. It handles hills pretty decent. I've never actually had it run out completely, but I use it to get to work and back every day. And when I get in, I'll plug it in, and it only needs about an hour and a half to charge, something like that. First charge apparently is supposed to take 4 to 7 hours, but I also noticed in the instruction book that was based on 110 volt system, whereas in England here we use 240, so it's more power. So it takes less time to charge. The initial charge for me took about 2.5 hours, so that wasn't bad. But yeah, just topping up the charge each time when I get home. It takes about an hour and a half, something like that. It's not too bad. But yeah, overall, it's a very nice scooter. Compared to the rentals that I used to use, this is the difference between driving like a BMW compared to an old VW Beetle. The rentals are absolutely terrible. They have very little safety, whereas this is quite nice and has quite a lot of safety. So that's good. So I think we shall call it quits there. So that's my review. Have fun. Bye.